And another comment that Snoop made in this interview that he did with Big Boy, right? He
Yeah,
said
I
that
heard that.
Tupac hated him 2 days before he got shot in Vegas because he got on the radio in New York and said that he was cool with Biggie and Puffy.
I won't even go that far to say Pac didn't like him. You know, Pac, he really loved Snoop. They was like brothers. I think, you know, you just can have a misunderstanding. You can be upset with somebody. But I won't go as far to say that Pac didn't like him. And even if Snoop's saying that, he might have misread it. You know what I mean? Because maybe after a couple of days or a week or so, I'm sure him and Pac would have been able to sit down. You know, Pac didn't hate him. He was just upset. I think he was hurt. You understand? I think Pac was hurt from the simple fact that, you know, Pac listening to the radio and he hears Snoop like, these my homeboys. Talking about, you know, Puffy and Bad Boy and stuff like that. And that's okay if that was really the reality, because you have people from Death Row that didn't get involved in this. Like the Lady of Rage, she didn't get involved in this. It was so many people that didn't get involved in that. And if that's the case, for example, if Pac have a beef with an individual, just because you're on Death Row Record doesn't mean you have to have a beef with them, and that's not what you want to do. You know what I mean? Some people stood up on that. So I think it really hurt Pac because when Snoop got on the radio, it was like, man, these my homeboys. But just a couple weeks before that, you was in the studio doing diss records against Biggie. So that's where it really hurt Pac. Pac wasn't the type of person who tried to bully Snoop like, no, my beef is your beef. It just hurt him when he like, bro, but you were just in the studio with me doing diss records. You were just, you know, riding with me and saying you know what I mean? But now, just a couple days later, you're on the radio saying, so it hurt him in that standpoint of view. You know what I mean? Because if you don't want to beef with somebody, don't beef with them. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like they always say, beef doesn't make money. So Pac couldn't really force Snoop to take his enemies, but you know, it was just these people shot at Snoop in New York. You know what I mean? Snoop went back, did diss records. So that really, you know what I mean? Because when you listen to these interviews, it would make it seem like Pac was just going at everybody and trying to instigate Snoop to be part of this, but that's not how it was because they was all together. They was doing diss records against Biggie and Puffy. You know what I mean? And people change. Like, you know what I mean? I might have did something that I done as a teenager and I look back, I regret it. You know what I mean? That's no problem. But to make it seem like you had nothing to do with none of this, that's when it comes to be kind of strange and weird. You know what I mean?
And he also made a comment about that in the interview where he said that Pac was real mad because he didn't understand, like, why would he get on the radio and say that he cool with Biggie and Puffy after Biggie tried to get him killed by getting his trailer shot up.
Exactly. So he was just sending mixed signals, you know what I mean? And so that's what it was. So Pac look at it like that, you know what I mean? If I'm your boy and we together, then all of a sudden you get to another coast and then you on the radio like, nah, man, these my homies. I think it just messed Pac up. Pac was looking at it like, wait a minute, bro. You wasn't just saying that in L.A. But I don't think it was to the point where you can say Pac didn't like Snoop. He was upset. He was hurt. And I'm sure if he would have got the opportunity, God knows best, they probably would have been able to sit down, you know, because Pac really genuinely had a lot of love for Snoop. And like I said, bro, people grow up. People change. Snoop got a beautiful family. He's married, got kids. You know what I mean? One of the few people in the music industry that you can say, you know, he still have his wife. They still have a family together. They have grandkids. That's beautiful. So as that individual, you can look at it and you know what I mean? He can say, look, I got my family, I got my grandkids. I don't got time for this now. You know what I mean? But you can't erase history, bro. You was part of the drama. You know what I mean? You was part of, you was pumping up Pac as well. So when you went and played that song about you dissing Biggie, Pac was hyped. So when you make it seem like Pac was the only one dissing people, bro, you was part of pumping Pac up to diss East Coast artists. When you was coming to him saying, Pac, listen to this song I just did, I dissed Biggie, you was part of, all of you guys was, all of us guilty. You know what I mean? We all played a part of pushing, you know what I mean? Now I can look at it, people might get upset. I can say it was ignorant. It was ignorance because that's what we was on. We was talking about killing other black people. We was talking about, to me, now that's ignorance. But back then, that's what we was on.